Then you still have some humidity throughout the eastern Dakotas all the way to the mid-Atlantic. Parts of the Great Lakes region would still see some humidity and a tiny bit in California and coastal Oregon. But a lot of dry air as a result of very, very cold temperatures would move into the interior parts of the West, like the Rockies and the Great Basin. Tuesday night, all that dry air starts moving east. Cold and dry air starts moving east. But that tends to lead to a lot of humidity throughout the Gulf Coast, the mid to lower Mississippi Valley, the southeast, and parts of the mid-Atlantic. A little bit of moisture still left over in Minnesota and parts of Oregon and Colorado. While I failed to mention you, so you do have mid single digits in degrees Celsius of dew point values. For Wednesday morning, your dew point values would still be the same though. Humidity-wise, throughout the U.S., there's going to be only a little bit of humidity throughout the Gulf Coast, the southeast, just a tiny bit in the Mississippi Valley, the Mid-Atlantic, and coastal parts of the Northeast, and as well as the coastal parts of the West Coast, too. And finally, while your dew point values be in the low single digits in degrees Celsius in terms of the humidity, the dew point value, there's a lot of dew point to deal with throughout places like the southeast, a little bit of humidity in the coastal part of the northeast, and as well as the Mississippi Valley, the Ohio Valley too, and parts of the West Coast, and parts of the Great Lakes too. Sorry. Now, where's the convection for tomorrow morning? Lots of convection. It will be all over the Gulf Coast. Tiny bits in the central third of the country. The interior parts of the West and the Pacific Northwest on the coastal side. Tiny bits in the Great Lakes region in northern New England. Now, what about for tomorrow night, though? There's going to be a lot of humidity throughout places like Texas, the southeast, somewhat plenty of cape throughout the western plains, tiny bits of convection throughout the rest of the east coast and parts of the Great Lakes region, and a good amount just located in the Pacific Northwest and the northern Rockies. For Tuesday morning, a lot of convection in Texas, Florida, a tiny bit of convection throughout the rest of the South, the Great Plains, Great Lakes, New England, Mid-Atlantic, Northern Rockies too. And for Tuesday night, there's going to be a lot of convection throughout the western Gulf Coast, Florida, tiny bits of convection throughout the rest of the South though, and the Great Plains, Mississippi Valley, Great Lakes region, the Mid-Atlantic. Wednesday morning, only a good amount of convection just east of New Orleans and southern Mississippi and southern Alabama. Otherwise, just tiny bits of convection will be all over the Mississippi Valley, the Great Lakes region, Florida, the coastal part of the Pacific Northwest. Tiny bits of convection will be all over the Mississippi and Ohio valleys, parts of the Great Plains, parts of the Great Lakes, and parts of Florida will get some convection. We'll go to here and then hold it off until the end of the radar part of the forecast. Let's start off with here going into tomorrow morning. Sorry. There's going to be a lot of rain for folks in the Caribbean as a result of Melissa. Now, starting off right now, okay, so going into tonight and early tomorrow morning, there's going to be a lot of mountain rain, mountain snow, and coastal and valley rains throughout the northwestern part of the country, the Great Basin. And as for folks in the south, there's still going to be some showers and storms and more rain in a few places with snow, depending on the temperature profile in the Great Plains region. A few places in New England will deal with some showers going into tomorrow morning. Then going into the afternoon, early evening hours, all that wet weather starts moving east. Still some coastal valley rains and mountain snow in the Cascades. Similar story in the northern Rockies, Bitterroot Mountains, and as well as Montana, Wyoming, and Colorado. But in the Great Plains region, much of the northern plains would get some wet weather going, and folks in the southeast would still get a lot of rain and some storms. Showers would still be a thing throughout parts of New England. Then going into Tuesday morning, then all that wet weather's gone for the most part in the Pacific Northwest, but all that wet weather starts moving to the east, where there's going to be a lot of wet weather, a few storms from the Dakotas all the way down to Texas. Still some storms throughout the southeast, a few showers popping up throughout the coastal part of the northeast, though, by Tuesday morning. By Tuesday night, going into Tuesday afternoon, though, all that rain slowly moves eastward, and it'll affect places from Minnesota all the way down to Louisiana and Houston. And some storms will be a thing throughout the Carolinas and parts of Florida, and even parts of the coastal part of the Northeast. And all that moisture starts moving back into the Pacific Northwest, where there will be coastal valley rains and mountain snow there. Now going through the overnight hours and into Wednesday morning, all that is slowly progressing, in which all that rain starts moving into the heart of the Mississippi Valley. And then the folks in the southeast would still experience some storms and a few showers and clouds throughout the coastal part of the northeast. Same story. Not really. But there will still be some coastal valley rains and mountain snow. Maybe some freezing rain, sleet there in the Cascades. Alright, hold on a minute. Alright, I'm back. Now going into the Wednesday afternoon hours into early evening, do see less of the storms that are in the Pacific Northwest. They start to fade just as some move eastward, and then you have still lingering storms affecting places like the southeast, and then it moves up to the northeast though. Yet because of Melissa, all that upper level low bring in a lot of storms throughout the East Coast. It looks like as though there could be a few places with some rain and snow, or wet snow, depending on the temperature profile there. For Wednesday night, though, we're going to go back and talk about thunderstorms. There are going to be thunderstorms through the early morning hours in the southeast. All of that will plague throughout the region for days, as you can see. And that moves into Florida. Then you get more thunderstorms in the Great Plains by Monday night, though. But then all of that slowly dissipates over time, but then moves down to the southern plains. Thunderstorms will exit, but more of them will come by Tuesday afternoon into Tuesday evening. It then moves down south towards the western Gulf Coast by Tuesday night, and more thunderstorms just dissipated by Wednesday morning. But going into the afternoon hours, you see thunderstorms brewing in the Outer Banks of North Carolina up to the Mid-Atlantic. By Wednesday night, though, A few of them will pop up throughout the middle to southern Appalachian mountains there. Places like West Virginia to Tennessee and North Carolina, and the Delmarva Peninsula would see some thunderstorms offshore, though. And finally, let's talk about snowfall totals for the next 3 days. It's quite a contrast with the one that I speak of about a couple minutes ago for the next 24 hours, but this is the one for the next 3 days. So let's start off in the east. Nothing much going on there. The Midwest, nothing much. Going into the Pacific North, into the west, though. Wyoming, much of the state will experience snowfall amounts as much as about up to a foot of snow in some places. Otherwise, it'll be past that. But for instance, just west of Laramie, about up to a foot and a half of snow. South and southeast of Jackson, snowfall amounts could vary. Just up to 2 feet of snow will be there. But otherwise, it'll be a little past that. Idaho, much of the state will experience just about between a foot to a foot and a half of snow. Northwest and western and southern parts of Montana, they could experience as much as up to a foot of snow there. In the Cascades in Washington State, about as much as about 2.5 feet of snow over there in the Cascades. Olympic National Park, as much as up to a foot and a half of snow. In Walla Walla, just about 6 to 9 inches of snow. And then in eastern Oregon, same story, but in the Cascades, part of Oregon, about as much as up to near a foot of snow there. In Northern California, about as much as up to a foot of snow, and northern Nevada too. East of Salt Lake City could get as much as up to 2 feet of snow. Colorado up to about between 6 inches to a foot of snow. Near Rapid City, about as much as a foot to a foot and a half of snow there. And as for Melissa, could reach it to a Category 5 hurricane in a matter of a couple of hours from now, or a matter of a few hours, depending on the environment, though. Alright, folks, we have covered a lot in a short amount of time. Yeah, it's only because we haven't had much storms, but let's just go here and let this play out while I transition to Minecraft for you guys. So let's do it! Let's play Minecraft. In case it isn't obvious, foxes aren't players. What else is new? Unless if you have Ilvis from, what does the fox say? And I'm like, oh, no, please don't sing that. Please don't sing that song. It's so cringy in my opinion. Slow up the terrain. And this is what we got so far. Now we are gonna continue where we left off last night. In which case, it would be this one. Yeah, we're gonna keep on cloning this part. Okay. Here we go. How much do I have to do? Well, just gotta keep doing it as much as it takes. Okay, so now what do I do? Since there's a lot though. Let's see, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Make that 13. Yeah, make that 13. Okay.